Welcome everyone to Zoe's Inspired.
Have you ever noticed that no matter how hard you try, you've never quite blended in with other women? Even as a child, you sensed it. You watched from the side while others bonded easily. You laughed with them, but something inside you stayed quiet, observant, distant. You didn't know how to explain it, but you felt it deeply, that you were different. Not better, not worse, just different. And as the years passed, that feeling didn't disappear. It followed you into friendships, into relationships, into rooms where everyone seemed to understand the unspoken rules except you. You tried to adjust. You tried to soften yourself. You tried to shrink your thoughts, your questions, your depth. But no matter what you did, you always returned to yourself, wondering why you could never fully belong. The truth is, you were never meant to belong everywhere. From the very beginning, your spirit was built differently. While others learned how to fit in, you were learning how to see. You noticed things that weren't said. You felt emotional shifts before words were spoken. You sensed intentions behind smiles. This awareness didn't come from trauma alone, and it wasn't overthinking, it was intuition. And intuition often isolates before it elevates. That's why you've always felt like you were standing half a step outside the circle, even when you were physically inside it. You've always needed depth where others were satisfied with surface. Casual conversations exhausted you, not because you lacked social skills, but because your mind searched for meaning. You didn't enjoy gossip because it felt empty. You didn't enjoy competition masked as friendship because you could feel the tension beneath it. While others bonded over comparison, you longed for connection rooted in truth. That longing made you seem distant, selective, or too serious. But in reality, you were simply honest with your emotional needs. There were times you questioned yourself. You wondered if something was wrong with you. You watched women who effortlessly maintained large friend groups, who thrived on attention, who flowed easily through social spaces, and you asked yourself why it didn't come naturally to you. You tried to copy their patterns. You forced yourself to be more outgoing, more agreeable, more flexible. But every time you ignored your inner voice, you paid for it with exhaustion. Because pretending costs energy, and your soul was never designed for performance. What sets you apart is that you've always had an internal compass. Even when you made mistakes, even when you took wrong turns, something inside you whispered, "This isn't you." You couldn't stay in spaces that drained your integrity. You couldn't maintain bonds that required self-betrayal. And even when loneliness scared you, you still chose honesty over belonging. That choice shaped you. It made you stronger, more grounded, more self-aware than most people your age. You've always been sensitive, not in a weak way, but in a perceptive way. You feel deeply, which means you love deeply, grieve deeply, hope deeply. The world often teaches women to numb themselves, to toughen up, to stop feeling so much. But you couldn't. Every attempt to harden your heart felt unnatural. That's because your sensitivity isn't a flaw, it's a signal. It's how you read the world. It's how you protect yourself. It's how you understand people without them explaining themselves. And yes, being different has been lonely. There were nights you wished you were simpler, lighter, less intense. You wished you could ignore things the way others do. You wished you didn't think so much, feel so much, care so much. But what you didn't realize then is that depth always walks alone before it finds its people. Shallow water gathers crowds. Deep water waits for those brave enough to swim. You've also noticed that your life unfolds differently. Your timing never matches the crowd. When others rush into relationships, you hesitate. When others settle easily, you question. When others follow the expected path, you pause. This isn't delay, it's alignment. You move when it feels right, not when it looks right. And that has saved you more times than you know. You've always been guided more by inner peace than external pressure. When something is wrong, your body feels it. When something is right, even fear can't shake the calm inside you. That discernment makes people uncomfortable because it can't be manipulated. You don't bend easily. You don't follow blindly. And while that has cost you certain friendships and relationships, it has preserved your soul. There is also a quiet leadership within you. Not the loud, attention-seeking kind, but the kind that influences by presence. People confide in you. They seek your perspective. They feel safe opening up to you, even when you don't fully understand why. That's because you listen differently. You hear beyond words. You hold space without judgment. And leadership like that doesn't announce itself, it reveals itself over time. You were never meant to compete with other women. You were meant to walk your own lane with clarity and grace. Comparison has never suited you because your assignment is unique. Your path doesn't require speed. It requires awareness. It doesn't require approval. It requires courage. And that's why you've often felt like you were living life slightly out of sync with everyone else. Even your solitude serves a purpose. You recharge in silence. You think clearly when you're alone. You reconnect with yourself away from noise. While others fear being alone, you've learned how to sit with yourself, reflect, and grow. That ability will anchor you for the rest of your life. Because a woman who knows herself cannot be easily lost. You've been shaped by introspection, by questioning, by observing patterns in people and in yourself. You don't rush emotional decisions. You process. You reflect. You integrate lessons. That's why every phase of your life feels transformative. Because you don't just move through experiences, you absorb them. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. Being different is preparation. The isolation wasn't rejection, it was refinement. The misunderstandings weren't punishment, they were protection. The moments you stood alone weren't emptiness. They were space being created for who you're becoming. One day, you'll stop wishing you were like other women. You'll see that the very traits that made you feel out of place are the traits that give you strength, wisdom, and depth. You'll understand that you weren't meant to be everywhere with everyone. You were meant to be intentional, selective, rooted. You are not too much. You are not strange. You are not difficult. You are distinct. And the world doesn't need another woman who blends in. It needs women who see clearly, feel deeply, and walk boldly, even when the path is quiet. If you've always felt different, it's because you were never meant to live a copied life. You were meant to live a conscious one. And when you finally embrace that truth, everything about you will make sense.
Thanks for watching. If this video blessed you, like, share, and subscribe. See you all next time.